So for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, may we please have clarification for this Three of Arrows in reverse related to the Death card, related to the current energy that the person or the thing is in that they are thinking about, please. The Empress, yeah. So there was the Emperor here with the obstacle or the challenge, and the Empress is coming up for, you know, to help clarify this three. So you guys were definitely, I'm getting, there was definitely a couple here at some point. I don't think that you guys are a couple anymore. The Empress, the Knight of Cups, and the Five of Cups. Did I call him the Knight of Cups before? He's the King of Cups. In this deck, for some reason, I don't know what it is. I think it's because they both have blonde hair. It throws me. I'm seeing if I get a different message. I did get one more thing thinking about this, and it might be, Aries, that what you always wanted from the relationship, and maybe one of the main reasons that the relationship dissolved, you always wanted to have a strong emotional connection, a collaboration, really just kind of be connected with that person, and, you know, have those deep conversations and share the love and share the tears and that kind of thing, right? And the person, I'm getting it that this was the person was maybe not able to get into that heart space with you, and instead there was some dispensing of intellectual truths and that kind of thing, more so than maybe being in this heart space. And I'm guessing that you tried a lot of different things to shift that energy before the relationship dissolved. I'm getting for most of you that this is probably a dissolved relationship that's just been kind of one that you haven't, that's been in the back of your head, you haven't been able to let it go. Yeah. Okay, moving on. The Three of Swords. So the card that flipped out at the beginning was this Death card. And of course, you know, death usually always signals some kind of transformation or change. So I'm guessing that this relationship really changed this person. And I'm really getting this is more a relationship than a work thing, but take it as it will. Take it as you will. When this contract dissolved, and maybe it's in reverse, because maybe they dissolved the contract, and there was, you know, Abby here, like, you know, some heartache, some heartbreak, some really challenging things that always go along with this card. Maybe when they let that go, it really shifted them into a completely new energy and a new dynamic. And like, they didn't stay stuck, is what I'm getting. Basically what I'm trying to say is, I don't think that they stayed stuck where you, Aries, seem to be, you know, more in this kind of stuck energy, if that makes sense. I'm having a hard time articulating this reading. All right, so to clarify some more, this Three of Swords reverse, we have the Empress, the Knight of Cups, and the Five of Cups. Yeah, I think it's really reinforcing what we were just talking about. They moved forward, you know. Yeah, I'm sure it was. I mean, if it's this card, it was painful for them too. Wasn't something that was easy for them. I think they just made it a point to kind of move on and move past, and they definitely did. They definitely did. And this card also signals that this was, so we have, you know, kind of, well, and the Death card is not easy energy to go through either. So if there's any consolation for you at all, Aries, in this, because I can't imagine it would be easy to hear that, you know, you've probably struggled moving on more so than they have, right? That can't be easy to hear. If there's any consolation here, this is not easy energy to go through. This energy sucks. I know this from personal experience. You know, so they managed to kind of flip it upside down, which is good, but it's still there though. You know, the Three of Swords, once you experience the Three of Swords, it really never does leave, in my opinion. Some part of it stays with you. Yeah, the Five of Cups. I'm not getting a traditional read on the Five of Cups for this. I'm really getting that they, instead of looking at what went wrong, right? Because they would be in this energy if they were focused on what went wrong. They're not. They're here. So they really did look at, you know, kind of a thing that we hear a lot with the Five of Cups is they're looking, you know, instead of looking at these spilled cups, they did see there were two cups in the traditional, you know, Rider-Waite Tarot deck. There's two cups that are standing, right? And there's two cups that are potentially still filled. And they looked toward that as opposed to staying stuck here. And, you know, I mean, that's really good for them. I don't know how easy that is for you to hear though, Aries, right? And I think they took their love. I think this is confirming kind of what I had at the beginning with this. You know, like, I think they did take their love to someone else, somewhere else. All right, this was kind of an ouchie. This is kind of an ouchie reading. And this one's also complicated. This one is definitely also complicated. Cancer's reading was probably about 50-something minutes because that one was super layered. And I offered them a private reading if they want one. You could email me and I will offer you the same thing because there's a lot going on here. But I think the main message, so some of you might be aware that the person kind of moved on and didn't really stay stuck for very long. Some of you may not. Maybe you've completely lost touch. So, you know, to take that, I don't know if it's helpful in any way, you know, obviously take that. But I think the core of this for you, Aries, is to remember that this is what you want. This is what you want. And that you want to get out of this, right? Your way to get out of this is to remember these energies, you know, the self-expression that we find here, I'm getting finding victories in the little things, right? You know, I could start rattling off a bunch of little victories, but I think whatever that means for you, okay? You clearly want to move forward with the Chariot being right there. You clearly want to move forward. All right, so a final parting message for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. A parting message for this relationship that they are thinking about. Seahorse. Watch and wait. What I'm getting from this is that you have to have patience with yourself. But having patience with yourself doesn't mean not, not busting out your inner chariot, so to speak, and finding ways to move forward. That's not what I'm getting with watch and wait. I'm getting patience. Like if you do get frustrated with yourself, because you have been in this kind of stuck, both of these are very stuck energies. If you do find yourself getting frustrated or maybe beating yourself up about it, remember what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Remember what it is that what you're working toward, right? You're working toward releasing, and that takes time. So I'm going to get you another one. Let's get another clarification message, please, for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Tied to this relationship, what other inspirational message can we give to Aries, please? Bobcat Spirit, life is a mystery. So when I see cards like this, especially with situations that are tough, there may be some things that the universe hasn't been able to give to you, or some things that you haven't been able to access, like spiritually, third eye type of access, because of the stuckness, right? You might have been blocking yourself for a number of years from having access and being able to tap into universal consciousness, universal energy. Sometimes when we're super anxious and stressed out, we don't remember our dreams. I don't know how that is for you, but I'm getting like you've been blocked. And that you haven't, because of this blockage, there's part of life that maybe still literally is a mystery to you, right? So part of this is like, maybe because this dissolved, this thing that you were really working on, that you really wanted to see succeed, because it didn't work out. Maybe because we get into relationships, they're usually about love, right? Especially in this country, they're usually about love and romance, and we want the dream, right? Maybe when that dissolved, maybe you let the dream go. Maybe you let the dream go, and so that has remained a mystery to you, right? Like, what does it look like for me to be in love, to have love, to It's kind of a weird message, but that's what I'm getting. Is that you might feel like or know that you missed out, or that you're still missing out. Nothing's permanent. We can always make changes, right? All right. This was a tough reading for me, Aries. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not big on bullshitting, and I'm just going to be honest. Like, this was a tough reading for me to do. I'm not exactly sure. I can't quite explain why, but it was. And I hope that there were some 53 and 8. That's pretty cool. Anyway. I'm still studying my numerology, but I like to notice little coincidences like that. I love the word coincidences too. All right, I'm going to digress, and before I make this video too long and you pop off anyway, I wanted to thank you for watching, and I hope that you found this reading somewhat insightful and helpful in some way, despite my struggle with reading it. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.